It is. So, first of all, I have to say, it's Dr. Biden. Congrats again. It's incredible to be here with all of you. And I also have to say, and we were just talking about it before we came on stage, how surreal it almost feels to be facing each other in this moment. I'll explain why really quickly before we dig into the memoir. But maybe 15 years ago, right out of college, when I was in my early 20s, very much driven by the inspiration of the Biden and Obama vision of change, I came to DC, like so many young people in that era, year 2010, and I was a special assistant to Dr. Biden.
Yes, 2010.
2010, obviously.
She's a baby.
I was a baby. I was literally in my 20s. Obviously, life took me elsewhere. Life took me to become a journalist, to ask questions, to question power. But as I was thinking and as I was looking at you outside, I think I can trace back to that time in that office with you as a really pivotal moment in my career.
Oh,
I just imagine being a young, queer Latina with still a slight Spanish accent, navigating Washington, D.C. It's overwhelming, I'm nervous, only to then walk into your office and feel seen. Her office was run by women, which is a constant theme in your life, literally run by women. There were women, black women, queer staffers. I have to say a very genuine sense of empowerment. I think you pushed all of us to find a voice, to use a voice.
Thank you.
I grew confident. And then in that space, I think from the inside out, at the highest levels of power in Washington, D.C., I started to really grasp the meaning of all the dimensions of power. You know, what good comes out of power, the meaning of soft power, the complexities of how intoxicating power can be. And so thank you. Before we dig in, I do want to take us back to that time.
okay.
So we're in 2010, 2011, and if you're there, knowing everything that you now know, knowing the way in which things unfolded in 2024, knowing all of the pain that you carried, particularly that summer, would you still choose the same path forward?
You mean after 2024, would I still choose that same path?
Yeah. Knowing everything you know. If we were there at 2011.
Well, can I just say, before I start, can I just say one thing? I just want to thank, all my worlds are colliding here. So everybody from the East Wing, thank you for being here. All my Nova people, where are you, Nova? I know my Nova friends are here. I mean, it's just so nice to see her. My exercise people are here.
No way.
I mean, I love that.
Still cycle in the house.
So anyway, it's just so nice to see all of you. And I just want to say thank you before we get started and I answer the questions. So anyway, so Paola, back to you. So knowing what I know now, no. I think that... No, because you know that whole, it was so painful what Joe and I went through in 2024 when he left the race, and I have to say it wasn't for me and for Joe that I felt the pain. It was for our children. You know, Ashley and Hunter, who said, well, Ashley called me, "Mommy, please tell Dad, please tell him not to get out." Hunter said, "Please stay in." Our grandchildren were devastated. What do you mean, Pop's getting out? You know, we're counting on him. And so for me and for Joe, yes, it was really painful. It was really tough. But it was so much harder for our family.
Was it another one of those moments like you had in 2015, right, where you were pondering whether to choose family over politics? Did it feel that way?
You know, in 2015, I think it was, for me, and I think for Joe too, when he was thinking about running. You know, our son Bo had just died of brain cancer in 2015. There was no way. There was no way I think we could have gotten on planes, traveled across the country, gotten off, you know, rallied everybody. I mean, our hearts were broken. It took us years, I think, to absorb that heavy grief of Bo's death. I mean, my family was shattered. What happened after that was really traumatic for each and every one of us. So for me, that was like, I knew it was full stop, no. And I know Joe thought about it, but it just couldn't have happened, you know?
We're going to talk about all of that, no? About what it means to live with grief, and we'll talk about that. But even before we get there,
We won't be too depressing.
no,
we
we're going to
promise.
try. We're going to try, of course not. But I think anyone that knows you knows that you're slightly reserved. No? At least in public, obviously not with your sisters, not with your family. And I think, as you say in the book, creating buzz around you is something that you hate. You don't like that.
Yeah.
And you remind us in the book.
I bet you're the same way.
I am, actually.
Yeah.
I am. It's funny because people think that because you're on TV that
Yeah.
you're like a social person. If my friends know me, I'm extremely antisocial. But I talk for a living.
You're
Honestly,
antisocial?
yes. Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't say I'm antisocial.
You're not. I am. I am. I'll take that. But honestly, you have created a lot of buzz with the book, right? And then I'm obviously, like I do every day, I'm on the news, I'm reading all the articles, and I see this quote from Andrew Bates, who's a former aide to President Biden, of course, and he went on record referring to your book, and he says, "Why does that painful conversation for the party need to be publicly reopened right now?" So why is it important for you to reopen these wounds? The why now question.
I just want to say that my book has one chapter on the political wounds. One. One. The rest of the book contains my reflections of the 4 years at the White House. There's a lot of challenges, yes, but let me tell you, there's a lot of joy in there.
That's
it's
true.
about, you know, about my teaching and about just the state dinners, Camp David, having my family at the White House, traveling the country, all my foreign travel, you know, going to Ukraine. I traveled everywhere. And so that is one small part. So I want to say to Andrew, call me up and say it to my face, buddy.
Wow. To be fair, he did go to the New York Post.
No, we went to the Post.
He went to the
Okay.
New York Post. So
I know, but if somebody has something to say to you, say it to my face.
Sure, and you've heard that. But you are exposing yourself. No, I mean it's
And okay,
it's vulnerable.
that's fair. But his comment wasn't fair.
Fair. But I do think it's interesting when thinking about the voice of a first lady. You know, I think there's even this pattern if you think of yourself, First Lady Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton. The pattern there is that the three of you, for instance, have written your post-presidency memoirs before your husbands.
But I think that's tradition. Yeah.
So is it because paradoxically maybe in the White House one doesn't feel like one can speak up in the way that one should?
No.
No? Okay.
First ladies are just faster.
Oh, shit, okay. Oh, my God. Okay. Man, you're good.
50 years of this.
I know. Okay, I'm going to put this away. Never mind. Literally. Let's keep
Just
going.
gonna wing it now.
No, I am winging it. We do know that your voice was always defined, I think, in the classroom. No, I saw you, I remember those years at the White House when you would go teach. That was your joy.
Yeah, it was.
It's who you are, no? And you tell us all the time. I remember First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt said, and the First Lady, she herself was a teacher and she couldn't teach when she was at the White House. And she said something along the lines of, teaching is the best thing I've ever done in my life. Do you feel similarly? And can you tell us about what life in the classroom meant to you?
Oh my gosh, yes. Teaching really was my joy. I did it for 40 years. I'm not hanging it up yet.
I know, yeah.
No. And, Chris, in our state, I want to go into the women's prison, and I want to help women get their GED or their certificates. And, or I want to teach women about women's health. I mean, that's one of my main interests. So I I can't even tell you what teaching has meant to me. I've taught, like I said, 40 years. I've taught thousands of students. I keep in touch with a lot of my students. The difference of being in the kind of the bubble of the White House and then going into that classroom was just, it was me. I just found teaching at the community college was really my niche. I mean, it was just where I was meant to be. And every day I looked forward to going to work. I had my little purple lunch bag, and they packed my lunch, though, at the White House. I wasn't making that peanut butter and jelly by myself.
What did they give you?
Yeah. Pardon me?
What did they give you?
Oh, salads, really great salads, very creative.
Yeah.
Because I'm a salad eater, so anyway. But I just can't tell you the joy that my students brought to me. And at Nova, I started with a bunch of women, and my Nova women are here.
Are they here? Oh, no way. Wow.
Hey, we started the Women's Retention Program to help women. It started out with older women, because I saw how they struggled with math anxiety, as I do, and they didn't know technology that well. So we started the program, we mentored all these women, and then the younger women came to us and said, hey, Dr. B, we need help too. So, it wasn't about teaching them about how to write a paragraph or, a good topic sentence. It was really about life skills. And so they would come to us with problems like, hey, Dr. B, I don't have money for gas, or my tires are flat, or, I'm living in a motel with 3 kids and I can't make it to class. I mean, it was just like we helped them just get through life and just kind of maneuver and find their way. And I've always said, and Paola is here, she taught with me, she was my tutor in my classroom. And we always said, if we could give kids, they were adults, if we could give them confidence, not in just their academic skills, but in life skills. Because a lot of times they had no one to help or mentor them. And that was so important to us. And I think that's what teachers do. I think that's their most important job. And I just loved it.
What do you miss most about it right now?
I miss my students. My gosh, I miss them so much.
So speaking of students, I went on your Rate My Professor
Oh
website.
my God.
You know that exists, right?
Of course I know it exists.
Okay.
But wait a minute, it's only
I'm not going to say anything bad.
Okay, no, that's okay. But you know what? It's only the kids that have a gripe with you that go on and say,
So that's what I thought also. I'm the yelper that goes on, and I'm the complainer.
Okay. She gave me a D, and I didn't deserve it. No.
You're actually the consistent theme, and for the students, you can correct me if I'm wrong, no? But the consistent theme is that you're tough. You're a great but tough. So
well, that's a compliment.
That is a compliment. So one of them, they're great. And everyone says you're great, Dr. Biden.
Not everybody loves you. I'm okay with that.
Of course. But someone said, Dr. Jill Biden is the best, literally. I hated English more than anything before, but she made me love it. I'm not gonna lie. She gives a lot of homework, makes you work for the good grade, but is 101% worth it.
Oh, how nice. That made my day. That made my birthday. It's better than this old corsage.
Another one says, Dr. Biden overall is a nice teacher. Don't get me wrong. She's honestly very understanding, but she's a tough grader. It keeps going, so it's amazing. Yeah. Okay, do you think, perhaps, is it possible that you were a tougher grader on your students than on President Biden?
Oh.
He's the love of your life.
No, he is the love of my life, but I have to tell you, I'm honest with him. Yeah. Because so many people won't be. And so if he screwed up, I said, hey, or how about the long speeches? I'm in the back, cut it. So, I don't hold back. What favor am I doing to Joe? And the same thing with my grandkids. I tell them the truth. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they don't want to hear it. But that's my job. You know, I'm trying to make them better, not worse. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
I'm tough on him.
No, I believe that. So obviously of course, because I know you, I see it. But we're gonna talk about June 27th, the debate. But before we get there, and of course we're gonna talk about it because everyone is talking about it. And we need to hear it from your words, not what everyone else is saying. But I am interested in understanding even how we get to that point. How we get to that night of the debate. So you mentioned in your book that during the 2020 race, President Biden had privately told you, or privately played with the idea of perhaps being a one-term transitional president.
That's right.
In private, and it was floated.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say that to some American voters, that was signaled. During the 2020 campaign rally in Detroit, President Biden said, and I'm quoting him, "Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else." The New York Times had a report in 2020, and allegedly the president told funders, quote, "I view myself as a transition candidate." And then this one, Politico in 2020, reported that, of course, unnamed sources, whom we love, said that your husband allegedly...
Probably that Andrew again.
Oh, man. I really hope Andrew's not watching this. Like, there's a Zoom link. Andrew is... I don't know what to say. But these unnamed sources said, quote, "virtually inconceivable that he would run for re-election."
Okay.
But jokes aside, I think it's fair to say that I think a lot of American voters did view President Biden as a one-term president, not necessarily as a two-term president. And so a couple of things there. Why did he change his mind, or what changed? And then did you initially support the decision, or did you have any misgivings at all?
Well, you know, what happened was, you're right, he only intended to run for one term. But then Democrats did so well in the midterms that then people started encouraging him to run. You have to run, you have to run, you have to run. And then a lot of our opponents, or would-be opponents, were running polls. And I know this because one of them who was running polls came to me and said, "Nobody can beat Biden. You know, you've heard, and that's why I'm here, you've heard that I'm out doing polling." I said, "Yeah, I've heard that." And he said, "I promise you, nobody can beat, Biden is the only one who can beat Trump." And so everybody kept encouraging him. And that's why he made the decision, yes, he was going to go for it. And then, of course, the disastrous debate happened. And so the events leading up to the debate, I was out on the trail. I mean, I was out, all the time, traveling around the country, campaigning for Joe. So I didn't see him the whole time that he was at debate camp at Camp David. And it was, it was like a couple weeks. And, he was traveling, he was going overseas. And so I go into the hotel that night around dinner, and he said, "I don't really feel that great." And I said, "Well, take a couple Tylenol or whatever, you'll feel better." He always rallied. So we get in the elevator, and in the convention center, wherever it was held, I forget. And I look over at Joe, and he looks like ashen or like clay-like, like his coloring was really bad. And I thought, well, he looks terrible, but I know things are going to get better. So then he goes...
And you had never seen him like that?
No, I had never seen him look like that. And it just, how it goes through your mind, but you think, oh, it's going to be okay. And so then he gets up on stage, or, it's during the debate. I'm in the green room, or in a green room with Anthony and Annie, and we're watching it on TV. And then the moment happened, and I was like, oh my God, like, what's happening? I mean, is he having a stroke? Like, what's happening? I mean, I was so frightened. I can remember getting up out of the chair, like pacing. I was like so worried. And they said, they came in and they said, 5 more minutes, do you want to go on stage? And I said, yes, I want to go on stage. So I walk out, I lock eyes with him. I see, he seems okay. We give each other a kiss and say hi to the moderators. We're walking off the stage, and he says to me, and I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but he said, I really, you know what, up, didn't I? And I said, yeah, Joe, you did. And we walk off, and he went to, he went with his staff and where the docs were and everything. I went to go get my stuff in the green room. And we get in the car, and the docs are saying to me, he's okay, he's okay. Well, after that, we literally had 3 events to go to, 3. And so we go to the first event, and my mind is racing. So put yourself in my shoes. Right. So I'm thinking, I've got to introduce him. What am I going to say? What am I going to say? I'm not going to say, for God's sake, what was that? I mean, I'm not going to say that. I'm his spouse. I'm his wife. I'm going to support him no matter what. So I'm trying to think, what positive, what positive? So I go up on stage. My mind is racing. And that's when I said, what did I say? You answered all the questions. And I think I said you knew the answers. And what did Trump do? Lie.
Right.
So anyway, we did that whole thing. So people, I think not knowing like the before and the after sort of couldn't put the pieces together. And that's what I wrote in my book. And one of the reasons why I wanted to share my reflections on that night. So then we go from there, we go to the Waffle House.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
To campaign not to eat waffles. But, and that's an experience in itself. I mean, shaking sticky hands for like a half an hour.
And but it was tense, no? I remember.
It was tense. And then we fly to North Carolina. Mm-hmm. We get off the plane 3 o'clock in the morning. There's lights all over the tarmac. There's a band playing. There's hundreds of supporters. Yay, Joe, everything's great, everything's great. And so, I felt like, okay, things are okay. And, I felt like, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe. And it was a lot. And like the next morning, I'm an early riser. I went in and I woke up Joe and I said, Joe, come on, get up. And he was like, it was just like you could feel the heaviness of it all. I said, look, Joe, we are not going to let 45 minutes of a debate, define your entire career. And so he got up and we went to whatever next, we just kept going and going and going for, 3 more weeks?
Yeah, so a couple of things there. I think, and you've been asked this before, which is, how do you explain what happened that night? And I think you've been consistent in your answers, and that you don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I do not know what happened.
But it'll be, which is crazy, it'll be almost 2 years since that debate night.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if in the course of those 2 years, in the privacy of your home, if the president has confided in you on what he believes happened exactly that night.
Well, he says he was tired, and he had been traveling. He wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it's not like we're keeping a secret. It's like we don't know.
Yeah.
So. And I don't know.
And I think that's, and I can only imagine how uncomfortable and unbearable it is, to have so many people that are telling you.
Uncomfortable. Since I wrote my book, now I have to see it. I never wanted to see that moment again in my life. But since I've been doing press now for 2 days, they're like, well, watch this clip.
No, it's constant. I understand.
And,
I understand.
It's painful.
I understand.
It is. It is painful.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said all sorts of things that perhaps you were lying and all these things. But for a second, I want to put the politics aside.
Okay.
And I want to look at you from the perspective of a wife.
Yeah.
Of the human response in those moments. Some people will say, how is it possible that you went from saying that maybe he was having a stroke to then supporting him, people will doubt how you were able to see until the very end, which I know you did.
But the doctor said he was fine. They didn't say, oh,
Sure.
he might have had a stroke. They said, Jill, he's fine.
Of course, but so putting everyone to the side, no,
Okay.
You really understand, even if you look at other first ladies, no, that there is a pattern of first ladies that have stood by their spouses during the hardest
As they
moments.
should, by the way.
Well, let's talk about that. No, I mean, Hillary Clinton stood by Bill Clinton. You of course have First Lady Reagan that stood by President Reagan during the Iran-Contra. You have Pat Nixon that stood by President Nixon during
really
Watergate.
Going back there.
No, because I think because to me, this is where I think we don't understand. Mm-hmm. What does loyalty mean as a first lady, in the sense that, does it mean unconditional love? No, is it unconditional support? Can love blind one? Like, what is it that that feels like?
What, was I blinded?
What is loyalty as a first lady?
What is loyalty? Loyalty, well, I love Joe. I
Right.
mean, he's the love of my life.
No, that's why I'm asking.
But
yeah.
would I lie for him? No. I mean, that goes to the essence of who I am as a person. And
I'm not implying that you were the opposite. What I'm implying is that there's a type of love that we can't grasp. There's a type of love, and I think you even recognize this in your book, where you yourself question, like, is it possible to be objective for sure? And I think what we don't see is what it means.
Well, I saw Joe aging. I mean, my God, we all saw him aging.
Right.
I mean, that's just part of, I don't know, he was getting older, he was, slower, he stutters, and so at night, if he was super tired, I could hear the stutter a little bit more, but I didn't think, I thought, well, this is just natural aging. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. This is him getting older, and that's what it looked like to me.
So, speaking of loyalty, Vice President Harris, in her book, talks about loyalty. And there's a moment in which she mentions how she admires how fiercely loyal you are to the president and to your family. And so I'm reading your book.
Yeah.
And I'm reading the book, and particularly in those moments when we talk about the transition between the president dropping out mm-hmm. and then endorsing her, and correct me if I'm wrong, the words start to feel tense. Sure. when you talk about her, and a little bit more loaded. And as I was reading, I was wondering if you at some point questioned her loyalty to the president, right? Because there's this one moment in the book that I think a lot of people are talking about when you describe that, when President Biden was talking about stepping down and endorsing her, you walk out. You walk out of the room because she wanted an immediate endorsement, and you storm out. Why do you walk out?
Wait, I didn't say storm.
Sure, okay, fair.
Fair.
You walk out.
Okay, I walked out. So put yourself come to my beach house, put yourself in that room. Okay, so a lot's going on, right? So Joe had made the decision to drop out. It was very emotional, as you might well imagine. We're getting the calls from our kids, we're getting the calls from our grandkids. Meanwhile, Joe is in the next room, which is the bedroom off of the main room, and he's negotiating to get Evan Gershowitz released. So I'm looking at all of this happening, and I'm thinking to myself, my God, here they're saying Joe can't do his job, yet he's in the other room on the phone getting Evan Gershowitz released. So I'm emotional. I mean, I kept my composure. I'm not like crying or anything. And I'm watching all this unfold. I mean, it was like I was so torn. And, I was taking in all this emotion from our kids and our grandkids. I'm heartbroken for my husband.
Of course.
And then, Kamala's on the phone. I mean, how would you feel? Of course I walked out. It was like too much. It was overwhelming. And to me, it was overwhelmingly sad for this man who had given his life 50 years of public service. And to end like this, And to end like this, I mean, I was heartbroken, you know,
But
and that's
did you
why
question
I walked out.
the loyalty? I mean, it's funny because there's in her book she says, I suspect Jill hadn't quite forgiven me for the 2019 primary
that's
debate.
So, no.
No, I didn't say that. She said
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, that was like so long ago, and then
Right.
she dropped out of the race. I mean, like, who cared? You know, like, who cared? So anyway, so go on with your question.
No. Well, now I'll move on from her, but I have to ask because it seems like she may be running. Do you think that
That she may be
Vice
running?
President
I
Kamala
don't
Harris should
know.
run again?
I mean, she called Joe the other day.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still friends. You
Yeah.
know, they talk. She calls him or he calls her. It's not like, you have to understand Joe as a man. I mean, he doesn't like hold grudges. You know, that goodness that you felt for him and why you voted for him, that's who he is. He lives his faith. He lives his faith. He believes in forgiveness. And lots of times, you know, and he'll go up to somebody and he'll be all friendly and everything. And I said, Joe, for God's sake, do you remember what he said about you? You know, why are you even talking to that guy? And Joe's like, no, I don't remember.
Wow.
You know, it's like, what did he say? You know, he's just like, he doesn't hold a grudge. I don't know whether it's his, you know, his Catholic faith or whatever, but, and let's face it, guys. I mean, Joe's had this horrible, horrible cancer diagnosis. You know what? When somebody you love so much is going through stage 4, metastasized in your bones, bone cancer, you know what? You let things go. You just let things go. You know, life is too short to carry these grudges anymore because you got way too much on your plate right now to just handle. You know, are you taking the right medicines? Are you seeing your doctors? When's the next doctor appointment? You become a caregiver in a certain sense. Not that Joe's not out. I mean, he's making speeches, he's writing himself, whatever. But there is, you know, you just start to appreciate every day that you have in a way that maybe you didn't think about before. And I think that's where we are.
Together as a couple, how are you both holding up?
You know, I think we're holding up fine. I mean, well, not fine. You know, if the truth, not fine. It's I don't know. It's hard to. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, and it's hard for my like our family. It's just hard. There are consequences. You'll see him. I mean, you'll see him out because he's making speeches and he's going to Democratic Party dinners and that sort of thing. And honestly, he looks terrific. But I know he gets a little more tired more often. And I know, you know, how hard it is. I mean, look, I bet everybody in this entire audience has dealt with somebody in their life who has had cancer. And you have seen them when they've been sick and had to take pills. And he had 5.5 weeks of radiation every single day up to Philadelphia and back. 5.5 weeks of that. So how are we doing? You know, I think we're doing, we're keeping busy. We're doing everything we normally do. I mean, I'm out on my book tour. We were in New York last night. We had the whole family there celebrating my birthday because we were all together. So, you know, we're doing fine. But are we doing, like, great?
No, of course.
We're not doing great.
Yeah. I know you like to do to-do lists.
Oh, yeah,
No?
I do to-do lists.
You always have
Yeah.
to-do lists. Do you have any, what's your to-do list with President Biden in this sort of afterlife? What are the things you want to do
Well,
with
the
him?
to-do list, and this is the truth. I mean, I can remember I was actually right after he got diagnosed, the day after, whatever, 2 days. You know, I was in the nail salon. I'm going through a travel log. And I'm saying, oh, my God, these places look so great. Let's go here. Let's go there. And then all of a sudden, it hit me. And I threw the magazine down, and I thought, what am I doing? I mean, what? Now I think we can like just travel the world like we had planned? No. So my to-do list, I have checked a couple things off.
Oh, yeah,
I've gotten
like
2
what?
puppies.
What are their names?
Okay, Scout and Boo. Everybody think, what novel did it come from? Very good.
Professor Biden. Okay, what else is on the to-do list?
Oh, I don't know. Just spend more time with family, and we've been doing a lot of that. I mean, my house is like Grand Central Station with the kids and the grandkids because we live on a man-made lake, and we have a pool. And so the kids are over there on the paddleboard or in a canoe or swimming. Like there's kids there all the time, and it's busy. It's
I
busy.
think one of the most haunting and powerful and beautiful parts of your book is precisely when you talk about grief and pain and loss. You know, when you, of course, talk about losing Bo, when you talk about hunter's addiction, which I know even that term in itself is something that is even very hard to say out loud. When you talk about being physically present in your son's trial, you know, that part was hard to read even. Because I think I think this is the theme, no? Where you're so many people at once. You know, you were a first lady and a teacher and you're a wife, but you also have to be in public and you're a mom and a grandma. And through all of it, you're holding it together all the time. No? The loss never leaves you, right?
No.
No?
No, the loss never leaves you. I mean, especially I think, you know, when you've lost a child, I think there's nothing worse. And I think that's the first
That's how you start
line
the book.
of my book. That's how I start my book. Once you've lost a child, nothing else can hurt you. Because you get this resilience from that. There's just nothing worse. And Bo was just so great, wasn't he, Chris? I mean, he was such a great guy, just a great human being. And, you know, he was sick for like over a year. I can't even think of how many months exactly, but I have to say, like, he was so good that I know he's my son, but I felt like God was not going to take him. I mean, I believed that. And the doctors at the time kept saying, you know, this glioblastoma, we're going to try this and we're going to try that. And the thing with glioblastoma is something could, you know, all of a sudden work. And so up until the last moments, I mean, I held on to that hope that he was, and even when he was dying, and his last day even, the doctors took us in a room and they said, you know, things are looking really bad, but it could turn around. And I thought, thank God, I have hope, I have hope. And then we walk out, and then one of the docs said, stop. Go back into that room and tell the Bidens the truth. And we walked back into that room, and the doc said, he'll probably die today. And, you know, it was like, I just couldn't give up hope. I mean, as a mother, you can't. And I prayed and prayed and prayed that God would not take him. And I felt like, he's so special, God. You know, he's so special. But, you know, some things are just I don't know. You just can't.
Did you ever lose faith?
You just don't know. Did I lose faith? Oh, my God. After that, I lost faith for, I don't know how long it was. It was a year, 2 years maybe. And no, it was longer than that. And then I can remember Joe and I were on the campaign trail. And so it had to be like, what, 18, 19? And we went to a church in South Carolina. We had been invited to go there and, you know, be part of the service. And I was sitting there in the front pew, and a woman came along. She happened to be the pastor's wife. And she knelt down, and she took my hand, and she said, Jill, I want to be your prayer partner. And I looked at her, and I had never even heard the word prayer partner. And I said, okay, Robin. And So I felt, and then she called me like a few days later. And can I tell you, like, she calls me, we text every single week. I mean, now for years. And I felt that in that moment, she was the messenger. And she was saying to me, okay, Jill. God was saying to me through her, Robin, okay, Jill, you've grieved, you're grieving, but now it's time to come home. And at that moment, I felt like I could pray again and I could believe again. So.
Even the description of you being in Hunter's trial, it was remarkable to see that you came and then you were in Paris, doing a ceremony, and then you came back, and then you had to be physically again the first lady and back, and you couldn't cry in public.
No.
Do you, now that you're outside of the public eye, do you feel like do you cry? I mean,
do I
does
cry?
One cry? Yeah, no.
God,
I mean,
she's getting so personal, isn't she?
No. Because I was reading it and I thought it was I could not. I honestly couldn't comprehend. That we saw you all the time on our screen, and that you were going through all these things. And you write in the book, honestly, not too much. That when you could, maybe like a tear came down when you were in a room, and then you came. But I was wondering, like, now that you're outside holding all this pain, like, when was the last time you cried?
Oh my gosh, I think that's too personal.
Okay, fine,
last time I cried.
Okay, all right, okay.
But I have to say, I am the oldest of 5 sisters. Yeah. Our parents are deceased. It's sort of my role now. I do feel that in our family, and especially since Joe's had his cancer diagnosis, there has to be someone who holds everybody together. And I see that as my role because I'm the mother, and I'm the grandmother, and now, I'm the great-grandmother. And so the kids do come to me, and I'm, like I said, I'm very honest with them. They're very honest with me. And so my mother was I don't think I ever saw my mother cry but once in her life. And so I think I sort of learned that from my mother, that you need to have resilience, you need to have inner strength to be able to survive, because life is so much harder than we ever imagine. And yes, there are those glorious highs where you have all those joy, where you grab onto joy. But then there are those lows that just knock the wind out of you. So I think that's kind of my role in the family.
No, I think there's a lot to learn from that. I'll do a couple more questions, and then we're about to do all the Q&As that many of you have submitted.
Yeah.
No, I know, Ramos.
We're watching the clock. We have a secret clock
No,
up
and
here.
I know. I want to get to everything. 2 things.
Yeah.
Number 1, because we know that President Biden is so empathetic. That is one of the big gifts that he has.
Yeah, he does.
Of course, he pardoned Hunter, understanding what could come out of this current White House. And I keep thinking, does President Biden have any empathy for President Trump? Is he capable of holding that? It's not a trick question.
What do you guys think?
No, we don't know. I don't know. I generally...
That's my answer. What do you guys think?
Really? I'm honestly, I think that's very honest, because for a second I thought you would be like, well, like he's... No, okay.
I'm a truth teller, so...
I know you are, okay. Okay, so now I want another truthful answer.
I think I'm catching her unaware, don't you?
No, another truthful answer. So you end the book in a beautiful and mysterious way. So it's January 20th, and this is your last morning in the White House, and you're waking up. It's Inauguration Day. My birthday, by the way. So it always goes both ways. It's either like a great day or an insane day.
Yeah.
But it's January 20th. You wake up. You look outside. The windows are somewhat frosty.
Yeah.
And you describe...
It was freezing. Remember how cold it was?
Yeah, it was freezing. Yeah. And you describe that
Hell was freezing over. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. you may have answered my question. I'm still gonna ask it, but I think you answered it. My question was going to be that in the book you describe kind of going, like touching the window and writing something in the window, but you never tell us what you wrote.
Exactly.
Is that what you wrote? You're writing, get out, run. No, what did you write? You're not gonna.
I'll never tell what I
No
wrote.
way.
No, I will never tell. Never.
Was it a good message, a bad message?
I'll never tell.
Okay, all right.
Well, let me ask
On
the
that
audience.
note.
What would you write on the frosted window?
I don't know. So many things. So many things. Okay, we have many of you submitted great questions, and so I have many of them here. So we're going to do a couple of them.
Okay.
All of these are coming from the audience. Some of you are here. Some of you are watching us right now. This one's from Ashley. Ashley's asking Dr. Biden, looking back, what is one thing you miss about living in the White House?
Oh my gosh, one thing I miss. You know what? The staff there is incredible. Honestly, they do everything they can to make your life beautiful and calm. And, you know, I'd go home at the White House, and everything was like perfect. And the fireplaces would be going, and, you know, it would be, Dr. B, would you like a glass of wine? Yes, I would like a glass of wine. And they were just, I mean, they had beautiful flowers in the rooms, anything you needed. I bet Hedia's here. Hedia!
Oh, wow.
Hey. Hedia's here from, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you, God, I don't want to get you in trouble. But Hedia does like incredible, beautiful flowers. And some days when I'd have a bad day, I'd walk into my bedroom and there would be like a bouquet that just took my breath away. And you made life so much better for me, Hedia. I love you. You did.
Beautiful.
And everybody was like that at the White House. All the people who served you your dinner, who, you know, in the carpentry shop. I mean, the people that did the gardens, Dale, who was outside planting the trees and the flowers. Remember the rose garden? You know, that. So anyway, those people dedicate their lives to, you know, perfection, and they do a beautiful, beautiful job.
Okay, this one's from Rebecca, and Rebecca's asking, my youngest daughter just graduated from high school and will be heading off to college to study political science. What advice? I know. We said we would be positive. Okay. What
Go for the English degree.
We went all over, yeah, but we're ending on a high note.
Okay.
What advice do you have for young people to help them keep their faith in our government?
To keep their faith in our government. You know, I think we all have kind of lost faith in our institutions, but, you know, I think that for young people, and this is what because I get asked, I can't even tell you how many times people come up to me, mostly in ladies' rooms, and they say, you know, I've lost my job, this has happened, that has happened, what do I do, what do I do? And I said, you know what, don't keep complaining, don't keep screaming at that TV, do something. Do something. And, you know, find your passion. Maybe you're worried about world hunger. Go work in a soup kitchen and serve meals. Maybe you're, worried about, I don't know, the environment. I mean, just go work for a candidate. Just do something. Don't just complain. And I understand it, believe me. But I think we've got to turn this around. We can't be complacent. We have got to turn this around. And especially young people. It's in the hands of young people.
Daria's asking, what do you want your legacy as First Lady to be?
My legacy? Well, I think it's up to others to determine your legacy, you know, not for me to determine. But, you know, one thing I loved was that I was true to myself, and this is what the book is about. In that I did keep my job. I mean, I fought to keep my job as a teacher. And, you know, I hope education is part of it. I don't know, working women's health. My gosh, I mean, for those of you who determine my legacy, these are the things I would like you to put in.
No grudges.
No grudges.
Okay. What is the strongest aspect of your faith that has helped you through the toughest moments in your life? This is coming from Matthew. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, I sort of answered
that.
Yeah,
okay. Okay, this one's good. When people think they know you because they've seen you in public life, what is something important they almost always get wrong? Jennifer.
Jennifer, wherever you are, Jennifer. So I think people think I'm an extrovert, and that's completely wrong.
Yeah.
I am truly an introvert. And I hate to tell you, but I think most English teachers are introverts. For all the teachers that are here. And so I think that's one thing people get wrong. I mean, I've learned, I can't even tell you, when I married Joe, I mean, geez, I was like, 25? And was getting this whole political life, and an instant made family with Bo and Hunt. And
how many times did he propose again? Like
5.
5, okay.
Yeah, he proposed 5 times. He says it was, he wasn't going to propose again, but guess what? He would have. You know what?
What sealed the deal?
He doesn't take no for an answer, so he would have. But anyway, so what was the
Well, no, I was going to say that 5th one, what made it, why did you say yes?
Oh, why did I say yes? I said yes because the truth is I just fell in love with the boys. And Joe's okay with that.
We were talking about teaching, so actually Nathaniel has, Jennifer is asking.
Another Jennifer?
Another Jennifer, this is Jennifer too. She says, what are your favorite books of all time?
Oh, my favorite books of all time. Well, I've taught for so long, and I actually like teaching American Lit the best. I think it's just the classics that I just love, the ones you love. To Kill a Mockingbird, Grapes of Wrath, how amazing was that? Death of a Salesman. I mean, think of all, Mark Twain, all the American authors, and how great they were. Willa Cather. But in today, I think some of my favorite authors, and I read all the time, and I know I have some book people here that Elise is probably here, people that I trade books with. I see you waving. And so I love, I'm reading Elizabeth Strout right now. Ann Patchett has a new book coming out. Love Barbara Kingsolver. I mean, she's so great. Have you read The Correspondent? You've got to read that. I mean, there's so many good books out now. I could never pick one that I love best of all because there's so many great authors and just so many things to say. And, for me, reading is so much a part of my life. And every night before I go to bed, I have to tell you this other one, Raising Hare. So this woman, Hare. So this woman told me, if ever you're going through, and she owned a bookstore in Nantucket, she said, Jill, I have a perfect book for you if you're going through tough times. And I said, what is it? And she said, it's going to sound strange, but it's about a woman who finds an actual hare, a rabbit, and the relationship through COVID. Honest to God, if you're stressed out before you go to bed, you read a chapter of that, it just calms you down, and it makes you remember the beauty in nature and in the good things in life. And honestly, it just, I have to write to her because she, talk about changing your perspective of things. We need those, we read books for all different reasons. Some of them really lift us up, give us a message, whatever. But sometimes we just need I need to escape into your life because my life is too hard for me to take right now. And she helped me do that. So anyway.
Beyond books, is it true that you're a heated rivalry fan? Is that real? Is that real?
Yeah. Yes. Hey, I'm a Flyers fan. I mean, I know this is the Washington
President Biden
team.
watch?
Major rivalry, I know that. But you know, I grew up outside of Philly. I am a Philly girl. I love my Eagles and my Flyers and my Phillies. Yeah, wrong audience probably. I'll do this in Philadelphia next week. But anyway, so yeah, it's so, I mean, what's better than ice hockey and a love story, right? What's better?
I agree. We all want to go to the
and
cottage.
I almost won that auction. You know, I was at an LGBTQ dinner, and they had the auction that you could bid on, that you could appear on the show. And so, you know, about 35,000. My table's like, put your hand up, put your hand up. And I said, are you kidding me? Like, where am I going to get $35,000? And they said, don't worry, it's going to go way up over 100,000. So there I am, 35,000. Me, hey. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I love that. Okay.
And it would be fun to be on that show, wouldn't it?
Oh my God.
For those of you who've seen
You
it.
should try. Yeah, you should. Maybe you can get a cameo.
A cameo, yeah, as an English teacher, like a walk-on. Yeah, in a nice hockey movie. That's going to go over well.
Okay, two more, and then we'll close it out.
Okay.
Because I do want to ask for you to give us a couple of words of how to move forward. But before that, Natalie is asking, how have your Sicilian roots shaped you? What did you take forward from your upbringing and starting your own family?
Okay, so my maiden name was Jacobs, Sicilian, and but it was Giacoppa, and so my grandparents came from Sicily, and what I got from my Italian roots, I have to tell you, from my Sicilian grandparents, total, unconditional love. And when I was a little girl growing up, we went to Hamilton, New Jersey, where my parents were from, every single weekend of my childhood. And I would go to one grandparent's, I don't know well, I do know, the parents, you don't want to hear all the family stuff. Anyway, I stayed at one grandparent's, my sister stayed at the other. My grandparents lavished so much love on me, and it was like so warm and wonderful. Every morning, the Italian bread toast in the toaster, you know, my grandpa mostly burned it, and my grandmom's, you know, swearing in Italian, Dominic, you know, and it was just, you know, the sauce, just the tomato sauce and the meatballs and you know, she made her own pasta, and I felt so loved in that house. That's what my grandmom did for me, and I think, you know, that's what love and family is all about, right?
So
Too Pollyanna-ish.
No. No one in my family cooks.
No one in your
Nobody.
Come to my house. I have.
I will. Okay, I think this is a good way to start closing on because we only have 2 minutes. But Allison is wondering, with everything happening in our country, what keeps you getting out of bed each day? How do you find hope?
How do I find hope? You know, I find hope because I see the young people. I mean, you know, I have grandchildren that are all in college and finding their way in their 20s. And they give me hope because they, like I said, they stay involved. They're excited about being involved in different projects, like I'm saying, the environment, things that really matter to them. And so I know things are going to change. Look, it might be a little crazy right now, but there's an end to it. There's an end. And like I always say, we've got to make it happen. We've got to make it better. We can't get complacent. We have to work. We have to fight for ourselves as Americans. And I think that's what we're all going to do. So, thanks.
On our final minute, I'm wondering should we sing Dr. Biden happy birthday?
Oh, my God!
Yeah. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, my gosh.
Thank you, Dr. Biden.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Paola. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Come on. Okay.
Thank you so much to Dr. Jill Biden and Paola Ramos. And thank you all for joining us. Please stay where you are while our guests make our way backstage.